Well, I'm both excited for the new Snapshot and heavily disappointed again. So they changed the create new world again. They've added this experiments for you to enable the experimental features. When I read the notes, I was hoping for something more along the lines of being able to toggle it on and off in this menu. But nope, they've just added it to the mores as a separate tab here instead of data packs. Even though they're still in the data packs, I don't know, I guess a step in the right direction, but hopefully there's some more to come. But anyway, we'll go over the patch notes, and then we'll check out some things in-game. Right, Minecraft Snapshot 23W6A. So, biggest change of all, today we're bringing you the damage command. So it's by far one of the most useful commands on Bedrock, and now it's here on Java. Really good. It's probably has one of the most utilities in the game just because behind the scenes, you can use it to do a lot of different things that sort of appear as, special effects, custom weapon abilities, all that type of stuff. But anyway, changes. Jukebox now emit a note particle above them when playing music. That's interesting. Accessibility, more sort of stuff on that. Not really my cup of tea. Create new world screen. So yeah, this. Tabs can be switched with keyboards. Nope. Where was it? This one. Added a screen to easily enable and disable experimental features. I read this and I was really hoping it meant on all worlds, not just worlds you create new. So you do unfortunately still have to use the methods I've outlined previously on how to enable the new experimental features on a old world and port it to 1.20 until obviously the snapshot becomes the main version. Bit annoying. Hopefully they continue to build on it and we get something like that. Creative menu. Added painting varieties to the creative menu. So now you can pick between all the different paintings, even if you set them up. You modify the files so that the image is displayed or whatever you want. You can now pick between them. So essentially it just allows you to take out a painting with set NBT data. Pretty decent. Technical changes. Here we go. This is the interesting stuff. Added display entities for flexible display of items, blocks, and texts. Good and bad. So the way they work is similar to the marker entity, so they don't cause tick updates, they don't have collisions or hitboxes, and are just fixed positions, and you can use them to obviously display text or hover, or display, a false block that isn't actually there. So some interesting stuff you can do. I wish they would just enable the ability to name blocks and have it memorized. If you take a look at the Omnis banner, you can actually see the string of data needed to label a block. However, that does not translate to any other block except from the Omnis banner, because obviously if you put the Omnis banner down as a banner, you can break it and you still get a block that retains its NPD data in terms of its name. If you do that with any other block, you name any block in an anvil, you place it down, you delete it, and it's just gone. So halfway there for what I would like to see. And then this one, added damage command for applying damage to entities. So you can use this to add any amount of damage. So half a heart, full heart. Usually in Java, the only method you have for inflicting damage is through potion effects in terms of command. So you use /instant damage, and then you have to work off the intervals of that, and they're quite astronomical. In fact, past level 5, you can't do anything just because it is so exponential. But you can now set it so you can do exact damage. You want to do a half heart, you can just use a damage command. You want to do a full heart, etc., which is really good because you can definitely create some really customizable things. Just make on hit, do X damage, and then throw in a custom particle effect, and you've got as many special effects as you can come up creatively for weapons. This stuff I don't really know, so I'm not going to go over it. Added a group of entity display, so again, that's just added display entities. I don't know why they've done it twice. I'm curious about this. Added execute summon to allow customization of newly spawned entities, so I think there's going to be some more menu options to actually allow you to edit them without using the NPD data tags. Very, very interesting. And then just more on the display entities. Again, they're like markers. It's not a big deal. Is there anything else we need to sort of go over? No, this is all sort of on the back end. Right, damage types. So the ID stuff just to accommodate the new commands. Parameters, here we go. So target, amount, damage type, entities, cause. So you can also label it. So for instance, if you were to create a special effect, you could then name the cause. You call it a special ability, whatever you want. And location, this is also interesting. For instance, location might represent the location of a bed exploding in the nether, even though it doesn't. That's interesting that you can tie that together. I suppose it's just for the death flag message. And then this one, execute summon. So new execute sub-command for summoning new entities and binding context to the selected entity. I assume that's what they mean by @s. Meant to simplify entity setup and reduce the need for raw NBD data. So I'm very curious to try that out. Anything else? Nope. Alright, so we'll head in game and we'll take a look at this. Oh, actually one new game rule, do bind spread. Just whether or not you want them to update and populate. Anyway, we'll head back in game and take a look at the 2 new commands. Well, execute summon's not new, but you get what I mean. Well, shucks. It is not what I was thinking. So execute summon, and then you can pick your entity, and you can just use the execute data, which is useful for some more complex things. For instance, you can now use store or, get data in a sense, meaning you can copy and paste the data from one entity onto a new entity you're summoning, meaning you can now duplicate entities, which is really good. But there is not really a lot of useful things. For instance, I suppose you can do execute as, and then you run the attribute command maybe. All in all, it's still as complex. It would be a lot simpler to still just edit the raw NPD data, with the 2 squiggles. You can do on to make it write something straight away, I suppose. What else? You could have it summon something. Yeah, no. It's not as innovative as what I was thinking. There is still some uses you can get out of it. So again, if you were to, I guess, store results, you'd have to use data get, store result, run, execute, summon, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I'm not the greatest with the score and the store and all that data collection type stuff, but I do understand that this obviously means you can now duplicate entities, unlike previously where you had to sort of find a way to translate the data from one and then paste it onto the other in a lot more of a complex format. But I wouldn't say this makes you editing raw NBD obsolete. As for the damage command, so nice to see. So amount, type, ooh, you can pick a lot of stuff. Interesting. I'm curious though, if you were to set any of these, if it will still interact with armor, because obviously magic, quote unquote, is the only one that armor does not interfere with, and I doubt that's here. It is magic, perfect. So I'm curious if armor does prevent this sort of damage, and the easiest way to try that out is, let's go into survival. We will just give ourselves saturation, perfect, to infinite, so we're always full health. And then, yeah, so damage, me, we'll clear that now that we're full. That's effect clear. Yeah. So damage, us, we'll do 10. I assume this is heart, so this should be, half heart, so this should be 5. And we will call it magic. So yep, so that did 5 hearts of damage. We chuck on some armor. I'm very curious now. Netherite. Was it the chestplate gives most rights? So I assume this is still going to do 5. Perfect. If we change it from magic to something else, is there mob damage or something? Something I know armor would usually prevent. I guess generic. Will this still do the same amount? I'm not full. Anyway, so 5 would be what? Half a heart, so 3.5, 4.5, so it'd be half a heart here. Yeah, so it still does exact damage, so it's not as useful, I suppose. It would be great if it still interacted with armor. Oh well. And then by, so you could label a player, you could do @, which is very interesting again. I don't really understand the uses of @, but it's there. So for instance that. So oh, it didn't. It didn't actually display the message. It just said I died. So we fell from the height there. Looping again. Game mode, creative. Really need to set the spawn a bit better. There we go. There's a nice sheepy. So slash damage. I don't know, 100 insta kill. Yeah. Just says applied 100 damage to sheep, and I find that's super interesting too. I don't know if this is just for debugging purposes. Obviously, I have command blocks turned off because I'm running tons of commands, but it's still outputting the information. And it's what's even more curious to me is how it says I died and then it applied the 10 damage, rather than apply the 10 damage and then I die. But anyway, that's the snapshot. Interesting. A lot of steps in the right direction, but not quite there, in my opinion. Some of the utilities of the stuff they've introduced is just not functional enough that I don't see them sort of being more useful. Damage command, definitely great. I am all for the standardization of all the different versions. I think that would be great. Obviously, if they get to that point, that means you can also do cross-realm stuff, so to speak, a lot easier, because obviously everything translates properly. But anyway, we'll leave it there. Hope you enjoyed. See ya.